Alright, sometimes this stuff just dumbfounds me. I'm up on top of the box, we're doing electrical and refrigeration lines, and I'm like, what is going on here? What is this? This is a walk-in cooler and walk-in freezer, and this is the lid of the box, the top. That drain line, that is a PVC drain line, they must have cut the hole too low, and they were too lazy to raise the PVC drain line. So instead, they cut into the insulation of the whole top of the box. They cut down 4 inches and then filled it with spray foam, but the spray foam is already settling down. So they literally notched out the whole top of the box, so that way that PVC drain line didn't have to be raised up. That is just a roof drain. Like, look at those ones over there. Those ones are up high. This one, though, they were too lazy, and someone spent all that time.
This video is brought to you by Sporlan. Quality, integrity, and tradition.
So we got a walk-in cooler that's all iced up. The customer called and said it wasn't working right. So we're defrosting right now, but it kind of sucks because they've got so much ice that you can't get the motor out. So we're trying to do that. At the same time, it's dripping down. This is a dual coil unit, so this one over here is all iced up too, so we're gonna get both of them. We got 2 people jumping on this right now. We'll get it defrosted and then we'll try to figure out why and what's going on. All right, so a little more context here. What happened was we got the service call and I was 2.5 hours away. So I sent another tech here that I knew I was gonna have to probably come and help, but he got here and started defrosting everything. And then I have an apprentice riding with me, so we got here. So now I have the first tech that got here de-icing 1 coil, my apprentice de-icing the other coil, and I'm just kind of waiting for them to finish that up. So I came up on here into the roof, and I'm gonna go ahead and put service gauges on it because we're gonna fully go through it. And I'm just poking my nose around like little things. Like I go to take this off, and there's pressure there. What the heck? There shouldn't be pressure there. There should be a Schrader in there. So I'll have to investigate that. Luckily I have a valve I can actuate. But then I'm looking over here and I'm like, hey, what the heck is this? There's a broken wire to the crankcase heater, and the other side of it's just sitting right here. What the heck, man? So we're gonna fix that too. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, get some service gauges on it. And I know that this system has refrigerant leaks. We've actually got brand new equipment for all of this, for a new walk-in, both evaporators and condensing unit. We just don't have time to deal with it right now. It's just sitting at our shop. So I know that we're probably gonna have to add gas for now to get them operational. I don't understand why, but there is no Schrader in there. So I backseated the valve and there's no Schrader. So I'm gonna put a Schrader in there. I don't know what, maybe someone didn't have one or something. I don't understand, but oh well. And then I'm gonna get some electrical fittings to fix that guy too. So this coil is completely impacted with grease once we got all the ice off. So unfortunately we had to put like legit coil cleaner on here to break it all down. I don't like using coil cleaner on these things, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So we're going to rinse it right now. That is much better. Still kind of dirty, but oh my gosh, 1,000,000 times better. So we'll see if the other coil's as bad. This coil's insanely dirty. Holy moly. The camera's not doing it justice. It's plugged solid. Snap. Well, I bet you they haven't been able to breathe like this in a long time. But check this out. Us doing all this work caused this pinhole to really jump out, so now it's leaking water everywhere. It's just gonna have to speed up the whole us changing this thing. It's gonna drive me nuts. But yeah, these things are actually moving air now, which they haven't done in a long time. Wow. All right, we're gonna go onto the roof. Both coils are kicking now. This one over here too. So moving good air. So we'll go up onto the roof, turn on the condensing unit, and check the charge. We got the condensing unit running. Sight glass is clear. It's definitely under a heavy load right now. So we're gonna give it some time, and then we're gonna check the liquid level in the receiver. You can see the expansion valves are like, woo, opening wide. Refrigerant level's fine. We checked the liquid level. Sight glass is clear. System's gonna take a long time to come down to temp. Customer told me it's been this way like off and on for the last 2 to 3 days. It's been temping high, so I think it's been iced up for 3 days. So that box is a good 55 degrees in there, so it's going to take some time to bring all that food down to temp. So yeah, we're just going to tell them to keep an eye on it. And like I said, we are replacing all this equipment too, because this is R22. Those coils are rotted out, so that'll come in the next couple months. Well, it's been a long time coming. It took a while to get all this stuff orchestrated, but we've got a new condensing unit. Now this is customer supplied equipment.
We're also going to be changing the evaporators, but we're going to go in with just the condensing unit today. Now, this is an R22 system. The new condensing unit is 448A. So, we're able to use the old evaporators temporarily with the new condensing unit because they have the right size TXVs. Now, the new evaporators are going to be a bit oversized, but it'll be fine for now. And then sometime next week, we're going to come back in and change the evaporators. So for now, we're going to start recovering the refrigerant, start disassembling the unit, and then we'll figure out repiping and all that good stuff. All right, we're working on using or getting the recovery done. We're pulling out the R22. We've got a tank over there. We figured out the max fill weight. So we're pulling that. This is my apprentice's stuff. We're going to turn off power, isolate it, and disconnect that too. And then get this guy yanked out of here. So figuring out this electrical is a mess. Look at this, ground's not even hooked up. It just had a wire nut on it, just sitting in the disconnect switch. Like, come on, man. This is crazy. But I don't know how far I'm going to go with this. We're coming up with a 3/4 conduit, running over to that condensed unit. So they're using one conduit for the power for both units, and then they're branching it off at that box and coming over with 1/2 inch into this one. So I'm gonna try to find a way to clean this up. I'm not gonna redo that entire condensing unit. I don't know, I'll have to figure this out. All right, we are not changing the line set on this one. Customer wanted to use the existing line set. Now it is a little bit big, but I think we're gonna be okay, but there is the potential for oil return problems. Because you know, I don't think this one's too big, but you do have to be careful because if you oversize the pipe, then you don't have the proper velocity to carry the oil back to the compressor. Okay, so this is the general idea of what we're going to do. We'll straighten everything out and we'll insulate before we make that final braze joint. But we're just going to clean things up. I just prepped it. I had to do some creative stuff right here. It's not the prettiest in the world, but it's going to have to go over the suction line because of where it was piped. We're also having to add a defrost clock to this guy. So we robbed that unit of the defrost clock, and we're going to temporarily put it in here because when we change the evaporators, they have a temperature controller that has defrost built into it. So they didn't ship a defrost clock with the unit. But in the meantime, which could be a week or two, depending on how busy we are next week, we need some sort of defrost. So we're just going to wire in the existing defrost clock from the other unit and get it, you know, operational. So gonna hook up some nitrogen, clean up the copper and stuff, and then we'll get ready to braze these. All right, we're trying to be as efficient as possible, so we're brazing everything in. We've got the nitrogen flowing. We did this braze joint right here, the reducing fitting. We're gonna now slide, well actually, then we're gonna do this 3/8 to 1/2 inch fitting, and we're gonna do this. And then we're gonna pull this one off, slide the insulation on, hold it back, and then do this joint right here last. But yeah, everything's going good so far. This one's nice and good and inspected. Got the heat blocking compound pushed on here. I'm letting someone else braze, so just want to be 100% sure. We pulled this one out so that way the nitrogen can purge downstairs through the solenoid valves and come back up on this guy. So yeah, it's looking good so far. All right, you can clearly see we've got the heat blocking compound off there, and you need to get it off as soon as possible, then just throw a towel on there. But you can see where the heat stopped. You know, this still looks shiny brass, and this, you know, so it protected it. We got a nice good braze joint, but it doesn't matter how good it looks when we're brazing, we still want to inspect it, make sure it's 100%. And I like to fill the gaps. I know what they teach you in brazing school, but for me, I don't care if you use too much solder. I mean, as long as it's not big old boogers hanging off, you know, but I mean, I'd rather be 100% sure. And that looks good. That looks good. Yeah, we're good. So now we're gonna cap this guy and slide the insulation. We are brazed in, insulation's there. We'll kind of straighten stuff out and tweak stuff and, you know, make it look pretty as we get going here. We're currently doing a pressure test. Now, I don't have my S-Man, so we don't have the tightness test feature, but we basically just equalized out the pressures, 93 PSI. Now it's important, we don't want to overcome the system pressure because these valves are never 100% leak free, and this is a pre-charged unit, so it has 448A sitting on the other side. So really what you should do is figure out what the pressure is on the other side. So you could put your receiver on, or you can just know the ambient temperature and find 448A and look at the saturation temperature too. But if you look at this, right now the saturation temperature at which we're at right now is about 50 degrees, and it's warmer than 50 degrees outside. So it's safe to assume that the system pressure is higher than 93 PSI at the moment. But you just want to make sure that you don't overcome that, because if the valves do leak, you could push nitrogen into the system. So just be very careful about that. So we're just doing a pressure test. We're going to start getting ready to figure out some electrical work and stuff. All right, so here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to take that junction box. We're going to move it down into here. We're going to cut the 3/4, make it short, make the junction box stay in there, and then 2 1/2-inch conduits. One go into here, and I put the 4x4s down to strap it to. One go into here, and then we'll try to clean up this. This is their communication wire for the walk-in freezer going down to the evaporators. I'm not going to redo that, but we'll just kind of straighten it up as best as possible, and then we'll eliminate this junction point right here. All right, we've turned this one off. We're still running the evacuation on that one right there. And the cool thing is you go through this walk-in cooler to get into this walk-in freezer. So the entire day we just go down there about every hour and open the walk-in freezer door for about 20 minutes, then close it. And it's maintaining temperature, so it's still like 35 degrees in the walk-in cooler, and it's been off for about 4 hours. So we're just kind of maintaining that. But we disconnected that big box right there. We ran the conduit. We're actually going to fix the straps because those straps were too big. I just put them there temporarily. Shorten that 3/4-inch conduit. Hooked in the 2 1/2-inches. We're going to make some splice connections in there. Then we'll drop it down in there. And then, yeah. All right, we are in our decay right now. It's at about 672 microns and slowly rising. That's fine. You know, we'll just let it go for a little bit. We did a pressure test. We passed the pressure test, and then we pulled an evacuation down below 500, and then now it's slowly in its decay. So it's natural that it's going to rise. So we got this guy turned back on, power applied, the conduit strapped. We still need to try our best to strap that communication conduit that runs the evaporator coil. We'll do whatever we got to do. We'll figure that out. And then we've applied power to both disconnects. We made sure, because we didn't want to mix them up because all the wires were in the same thing. So we made sure not to cross them up. We double checked. That's all good. So we still got to wire in that time clock, put the fuses in, release the refrigerant, and then start the walk-in cooler up. And then we got to check the evaporator superheat, because we are using R22 valves, but we've got to verify that the superheat is correct, because the nozzle may not necessarily be correct in the coil. So we still have to adjust and make sure everything's going to be okay. And again, these coils are just temporary, the old ones, until maybe next week or something. Worst case, the week after that. We'll just see how everything goes. I've got an AC change first thing Monday morning, a package unit, and then we'll see, maybe we'll do it Wednesday. Micron gauge is still on there. It's about 716 microns, and that's from me like playing, opening the king valve on the receiver. Now I haven't opened this service valve yet. I'm going to open the liquid line service valve. We're going to let the refrigerant come back up and build up on the low side, and then we'll take the micron gauge off. So we do have high side pressure. Got my little service adapter here. See, it's building up on the micron gauge. That's normal. It's coming up. That micron gauge can handle slight positive pressure, so it's okay. So we're just opening this guy up. Now the pressure is coming all the way back up because the solenoid valves are open downstairs. That's good enough. It's got high pressure. So now we've got pressure on high and low side of our system, and we're basically ready to turn this on. We still got to wire in the time clock, but we got to check the rotation of the compressor too. So, and this guy was pre-charged with refrigerant, so one second. And yeah, we're doing pretty good so far. We got to put our low side hose on that. So we do all that because when we have the micron gauge on there, we don't want to break the vacuum and introduce air or moisture into the system. So you gotta let the pressure come back up slow. So I turned it on. I have not wired in the time clock yet. I just wanted to see the compressor is running in the right direction. You'll know. But look at these wires, man. Just that there's nothing. I mean, we gotta. These units are just not my favorite. The quality control is not the greatest. Just wires everywhere. There's only so much I can do because they're only so long. But I'll try to strap them up. I mean, look. Can potentially rub against the discharge line. There's so many things. But we're all cleaned up for today. We left this up here for now. When we come back, we'll disassemble it and take it down. But I didn't want to shut it down or throw it away or tear it apart just yet. I want to make sure there's no issues with this guy before we just trash that one, because it technically is still operating. this guy's in there for now. We'll clean some stuff up. That bag is like spray foam and different things like that. So the unit's already satisfied. Everything's good for now. Like I said, we'll clean up. I'm gonna mastic underneath the wood when I come back. I just don't want to do it because I'm gonna be coming back up here to pump it down, and I hate mastic. So yeah, that's it. So we're gonna wrap it up for now, and we'll be back another day. All right, we are back today. So we are gonna go ahead and change the evaporator coils. So I went ahead and applied the service gauges here, very specific reason. And then I pumped it down. I closed the king valve on the receiver so the refrigerant flow will stop. We're waiting for the low pressure to keep going down lower and lower, and the high pressure is going down too because of the way the valves are set up. And then we will shut the system down, and I will isolate these valves right here. When I do that, the way that this is set up, we're not going to be changing the dryer today because we just installed this condensing unit a couple days ago. It'll be fine. We're going to purge with nitrogen the entire time we're putting in the evaporator coils, and then we'll open it up just like we did when we did the condensing unit. It'll be just like a pre-charged condensing unit again. So we're just waiting for that, and then we'll get into the attic and start fixing the line set and making do with what we got. All right, sometimes this stuff just dumbfounds me. I'm up on top of the box. We're doing electrical and refrigeration lines, and I'm like, what is going on here? What is this? This is a walk-in cooler and walk-in freezer, and this is the lid of the box, the top. That drain line, that is a PVC drain line, they must have cut the hole too low, and they were too lazy to raise the PVC drain line. So instead, they cut into the insulation of the whole top of the box. They cut down 4 inches and then filled it with spray foam, but the spray foam is already settling down. So they literally notched out the whole top of the box, so that way that PVC drain line didn't have to be raised up. That is just a roof drain. Like, look at those ones over there. Those ones are up high. This one, though, they were too lazy, and someone spent all that time. All right, we got the new coils installed, the drain lines. They are electrically wired. We're just currently finishing up the electrical. Now we got to run the line sets, but then they gave me extra work. These are pre-made coils, and they have the wrong TXVs in them. They're supposed to have 448A, because it's 448A in the condensing unit. They got 404 valves. So now we got to change the valves too. So it's just more work for us, but oh well. So we're getting there. We just got to get up in the attic and do the line set now and finish these valves. It has been a long day. We're currently running the evacuation right now. 10,000 microns. I just turned it on, so it's going to be a minute. And I'm only doing a 1 hose pull, so it's going to take a little bit longer. But everything's good. Moving along. All right, we are started up and running. We pulled the defrost clock out, and because the temperature controller that this unit has defrost built into it, so we're gonna put the cover back on. We're running, just roping, cleaning our stuff up, and then we'll be going downstairs to do a final inspection. All right, my box is at about 41 degrees. It's just about down to temp. They've still got, we gotta let it run for a bit. We'll come back another day, dial in the superheat. Everything's good here. We're foamed. Going up. We use the metal tape now, so that way we don't have to return, although they did go a little crazy with that spray foam. All good. Check out the other coil. We'll get over to that one. So I set the defrost clock. The temperature controller set up properly. The other coils over here installed, same thing. Drains hooked up, going up right there. Nice and good. All is well. I'm glad to be done with this one finally. It's amazing how dirty those evaporators were, right? It's crazy with these customers that don't do maintenance. It just seems to be getting worse and worse. This particular customer, I don't think they've done maintenance for at least 5 or 6 years now. So it's more reactive maintenance. You know, you come out for a service call and it's like, ugh, you got to spend 2.5, 3 hours cleaning sometimes longer, you know? Using a condenser coil cleaner on evaporators, especially the blue stuff, you got to be careful because that stuff's not necessarily meant to be dripping in food or anything like that. So you got to take extra precautions to make sure you cover stuff up. They do make evaporator cleaner. I mean, nothing's really supposed to be dripping in food though, right? But when you have grease this bad, you got to do something. You got to break it down. And that grease just, I mean, you know, it's never going to be perfect, right? So we got them operational. And like I had mentioned in the beginning of the video, we already knew we had new equipment ordered, but it was just a matter of how busy I was. I was short-staffed at the time. I just had a technician, you know, quit. It was just crazy. This was a couple months back. This happened over probably about a month period, this whole change out process. Actually more than a month, because the original service called, then like 2 months later, we changed the condenser. Then a week later, we changed the evaporators. So, but, you know, we just get busy sometimes and it's hard. We, on a regular basis, have equipment sitting at our shop that's, you know, more of a proactive replacement. And then we just don't have time because we have a lot of reactive emergency service calls that we got to get to. So sometimes things get put off, you know. I've got a condensed unit and 2 evaporators sitting at the shop at the moment that I've had for at least a month. And, you know, we'll get to it when we get to it, because it was more of a reactive replacement or a proactive replacement. So, you know, it is what it is. But when it comes time to doing the installations and stuff, even though I'm busy, I still like to make sure I do my best. I'm not perfect. I'm not, you know, I know that there's flaws in my installations. I know that, you know, it's not perfectly straight. It's not perfectly whatever. I'm sure someone can find a code book and say I didn't do something right. I try my best, okay, with the tools that I have and the knowledge that I have. And I'm always looking to improve. So if you have improvements, if you have ideas on things that you think I could have done better, share it with me. I love constructive criticism. I'm totally open to it. So please help me better myself, okay? Maybe I can share some knowledge with you. Maybe you can share some knowledge with me. So drop it in the comments. Let me know. Send me an email, hvacrvideos@gmail.com. Like, any way, just let me know if you have ideas, constructive criticism. I'm down with it. Let's do it. So, you know, this wasn't too difficult. It was more time consuming. A little frustrating, though. You know, you've had equipment sitting at your shop for a while, and you go to install it and you find out that this is wrong. You know, the wrong expansion valves are in the evaporators. I didn't order any of this stuff. It just literally gets shipped to me. So, yeah, that's a little frustrating. You have to be ready for that kind of stuff. Luckily, I stay stocked up with Sporlan expansion valves, dryers, all that good stuff. So I had a Sporlan BQ kit in my van. I was able to build those 2 expansion valves and replace them, get them to the 448A valves. Now, if you follow refrigerant manufacturers' guidelines, they, you know, if you read what they have to say, they're like, well, you can use 404A valves. You just have to make adjustment. It's like, no. I don't want to play any of those games. I want to try to make it as easy as possible. So I'm going to use 448A valves, which are R22 ports with R22 power heads, okay? 404A valves have different ports inside of them. So yes, you may be able to, depending on the size of the valve and how, if it was a balance port, you may be able to get away with a 404A valve. But again, let's just make it easy for the next guy. Think about it. If I put a 404 valve in there, the next guy's going to come in without knowing that I made it work properly, and he's going to say, this person doesn't know what they're doing. Whenever I do work, I try my best to not give the next technician any ammunition to shoot at me, basically, okay? You know, I mean, just take it easy, okay? And do your best to make yourself look, you know, like you're doing things properly, I guess, if that makes sense. I think I kind of butchered that analogy, but still, you know, just try not to give anybody any fuel to, you know, to add to the fire or anything like that. So we got that done. Then we ended up coming back again and replacing the condensing unit. And then I ran into that weird wiring situation, right? Or I'm sorry, then we came back and replaced the evaporators. And then I ran into that weird situation where I noticed on the top of that box that they notched out the whole top of the box. What the heck? The stuff that we find. I didn't have time, but if I take a thermal imaging camera and look at that box, I bet you anything there's a huge spot of heat infiltration on top of that walk-in cooler. Like, that's just nuts that they notched out the whole top of that box just for that PVC drain line that very, very easily could have been moved up. Like, that would have been so easy when they were doing new construction to move that PVC drain line up, but they didn't. They just notched out the whole top of the box. Like, whoa. Can't believe that. That's nuts. But, you know, you run into this stuff. Sometimes you have to learn how to work with the weird crap you have, right? You know, when you're working in the attic too, it can be frustrating. It can be tight. So try to be prepared. The best advice I have for everybody is when you go up into an attic, you want to try to think how that entire job's going to